Well, there's very little doubt in anybody's head that for President Donald Trump and his administration, the desired outcome of these elections is most likely a victory for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Just looking at everything he's done so far in his capacity, I'm talking about Donald Trump, obviously, in order to influence the elections in Israel in the favor of Benjamin Netanyahu. And we're not just talking about the latest move to recognize the Israeli sovereignty over Golan Heights, which drew obviously a lot of international criticism, but it came at a very right time, just when the opponent, Benny Gantz, was rising in the polls, and at a time when Netanyahu had more damaging information about him being released from that corruption case filed against him. So many people think that Washington, and particularly President Donald Trump himself, went out of his way to support Netanyahu in these elections. And it's not just this move, as I said. Looking at his track record over the last 2 years, he's done things for Israel and for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that no other president has done in the past. Essentially, he has floated decades-long American foreign policy in very unprecedented moves. One was obviously recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and following that, we've also seen changes towards the U.S. position towards Palestinians, cutting foreign aid for the Palestinian Authority, and also things like shutting down the PLO's diplomatic representative office here in Washington, D.C. So adding all of this together, clearly we have a U.S. administration that is very much in support of the Israeli government, and particularly Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and farther more away from the Palestinians as it's been ever before.
And how might these results impact the so-called Middle East peace process?
Well, I think the immediate question we're facing right now is whether the campaign promise, essentially, that was made by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he vowed to annex potentially parts of the West Bank into Israel. Now, many claim that maybe he was expecting another word of support from the White House administration. He said before that he had the tacit approval of the U.S., though we haven't heard anything from White House so far. Many eyes are now in Washington at the White House, whether they will respond with any kind of support for that statement. Many people are curious whether Netanyahu actually walks away with victory and comes up with a coalition, if he would actually go for such a daring move, because essentially it would bring about, many say, it could be the end of the potential two-state resolution. But of course, don't forget that this administration has been for over 2 years now working on a so-called American plan for the Middle East peace process. We still haven't seen any blueprints of such an agreement so far, but we also heard from the officials here in Washington that they expect to release this so-called plan sometime after these elections.